Welcome to Feature Fanatics, where we talk about the movies that have us obsessed, excited, and inspired. I'm Gall, and welcome to our fourth season. We're coming at you with a lot more special content with a lot of great guests. And today's subject, we are talking about The Creator, which is now out in theaters and it's directed by Gareth Edwards. And I'm joined by two awesome guests who I've known in the world of film Instagram for a while. First of all is Adam Piacente from the Go No Go movie reviews page. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
And a co-member now of the First Reviews organization squad. He is a Canadian film reviewer who has covered press screenings, TIFF, films that have made him laugh, cry, etc. It's Movie Reviews with Ben. How are you today, Ben?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
I'm great, and I'm really excited to talk about this one because it's a movie that I was excited for a bit of time. Ever since it was announced, I think I was following it because I was really excited to see an original sci-fi movie with such a dedicated theatrical release, which is weirdly something that we just don't get a lot of in these last couple of years. So,
It's
Not enough.
yeah, it's such a rarity nowadays to get something like this.
like,
Which is really
so Ben,
sad.
let's
Yeah, very. Like you, I have been following this and looking forward to this movie for a really long time. Big fan of Gareth Edwards' work, Rogue One, going back a little further. Huge fan of Monsters, which is, you know, such a small little cool creature feature that he worked on. Um, I really liked the movie. I don't think that it met the expectations of what I wanted from a story and narrative and writing perspective. But visually, this is one of the most gorgeous movies that I've seen this year, seen in a long time. It shows how you can take a relatively modest budget. This was 80 million and stretch it to make it look like, to me, this looks better than most 250, $300 million movies. So from a visual standpoint, I think this is a near masterpiece.
Adam, let's hear from you. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with Ben. I actually saw this movie three times already because I'm one of those guys that anytime somebody wants to see a movie, I live right across the street from the Lincoln Center movie theater in New York City, and I'm always down to see movies with anybody at any time. So I saw obviously the fan screening that because I needed to get that poster that they were offering, and then I had tickets to the Thursday preview opening night, and then I took my wife to see it on Saturday, and we loved it. I think with the difference. I completely agree with Ben here. I think visually it was an absolute masterpiece. I said in my review that it was the most visually arresting movie that I've seen since Blade Runner 2049 until you so lovingly reminded me of Avatar 2, which is kind of crazy that I need to be reminded that Avatar 2 exists,
Yeah, just
which
just
is
that
nuts.
little movie that came out last year, Avatar. It was a real sleeper hit.
For real, what does that say about its cultural footprint? It's like this movie is
I don't.
literally the best looking movie ever made, and I totally forgot it came out.
I don't think it's
But
crazy to put The Creator in that convo because hey, we could see that becoming three of those films in that sentence to win the best visual effects Oscar. We could see.
oh, for sure, which was super. And I just love how he blended the real and the fake. How he said he did it without green screen. He went on location in Thailand, shot everything, and then he tapped ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, afterward to put in the effects, which is incredible. But I also agree with Ben with it with the narrative part of it. The first time I saw it, I was a little underwhelmed with how clunky the narrative was. And so I didn't connect as much as I expected to the first time. But then the second time, also, I have to say I'm a little bit biased here because I'm a parent. So how much they focused on the kids and how hard and war is on the most innocent of us, and especially little Alfie looking exactly like my first son, even though she's a girl. So she looks like my first son, Jack, so much that I was in tears every time I saw it. Towards the end, I was in tears because I'm a parent. So that definitely hit different narratively, even though it was a little bit clunky. It's kind of like something that I would forgive for getting such a beautiful sci-fi epic.
Like we said, I was really excited for this movie, and it gave me everything I wanted, pretty much. Like, wasn't expect. I mean, like for some reason, like my head was thinking best case scenario could be in the same conversation as like Interstellar and Arrival. I don't know why I was thinking that, but I was hoping for at least a great fun time, like a great well done movie that I could like think back like great sci-fi movie, and that's what I
Hmm.
got. I like even my dad when we came out of it, he pointed a lot of similarities to Avatar, like the imperialism themes and all that, which I didn't mind. I totally didn't expect it to be a lot more ambiguous um, with like the humans versus AI, because usually it's humans good, AI bad, and here they really
Yeah.
change it, which is also hilarious. I watched this movie a day after the writers' strike ended, and AI is like a bad guy in real life. But
Oh, for
my
sure.
point is, in terms of the story, you could pick away like the structure all you want, but I think when it comes to a movie like this, there's also a lot of elements like the visuals, like the cinematography, which is amazing, like the music and the editing that I think really elevate like something that could be considered a classic formula.
Absolutely. I actually wanted to touch on that as well. The what your father was bringing up, the imperialism and all that stuff, and how this kind of reminded me vaguely of Letters to Iwo Jima, opposed to the Flags of Our Father. It's like the other side, humanizing the other side. Because like you said, AI is always the bad guy, but now it's showing the AI, like Ken Watanabe's character was saying how. I'm sorry, no spoilers. It's showing the other side and humanizing them, even though they're robots, but showing that maybe we're not the good guys. Going into war under false pretense is what I got from this, and it reminded me of like the last 60 years of American wars, and how you can arguably say, not even arguably, it's fact that we were lied to go into Iraq, and we spent 20 years in that horrific war, and all the people that it's affected. I think this movie has a lot of correlations to that, showing that you can be lied to in order to, go towards special interests. That for the elite basically, and we're the ones that suffer. And that was it's so there's a lot of heavy themes that I didn't expect from this movie.
Wait, was that on purpose that you brought up Letters from Iwo Jima and then Ken Watanabe in this movie? Because they're both in.
It wasn't on purpose, no, but that is I did think of that. I totally forgot actually when I thought of Ken Watanabe, because I was thinking, wait a minute, I love this guy. What's his name again? I was actually thinking of Inception, so it's really funny that he starred in that too. Yeah, you just
No,
that
because then
good catch.
imperialism, Last Samurai, Ken Watanabe. I don't know why I'm drawing all these.
Masterpiece. 20, I think it's 20 years now, 20 year anniversary now.
Oh
20
yeah, that
came
was
out in
2003.
2003.
We talked about that in
Yeah,
our
man.
top 10 Tom Cruise back in July. Me and my co-host Alan both put it in our top 10.
Well worth it. Beautiful movie.
So another thing I want to touch on is the performances. I saw some people who I follow on Instagram picking on John David Washington's performance, which it'll probably depend. Like if you liked him in other movies, or versus if you didn't like him in other movies, that this won't change you. But I've actually always loved him, especially in Tenet and Black Klansman. I think he's
Oh
actually
yeah.
a really good, like charismatic action hero. So like I really do feel like he's got that weight to be the leading star.
I don't dislike him. I'm still not 100% convinced he's leading man material. Like Black Klansman, I thought he was fantastic. Even Tenet, I thought he was pretty good. This, I thought he showed there were hints of a really great performance in there. And I don't know if it was maybe some of the writing and some of the dialogue that I had a problem with, that no matter what caliber of actor, it would have sounded clunky coming from them. But there were moments where I felt like he wasn't up to par of delivering the kind of performance for what I was looking for in some of those more emotional moments, especially in the movie. But he was good overall, I would say.
I think John David is he's really good at playing off of people. Like you said with Black Klansman, he was great with Adam Driver. In
Yes.
Tenet, he had great rapport with Robert Pattinson. So having him front and center in this one, where he's taking on the bulk of the responsibilities, no matter how good of an actor you are, if you have a crap script and you're not good at basically improvising and thinking on the spot, then your performance is going to come back out a little lackluster. And the script was a little bit subpar in this movie, like dialogue wise at least. There's some things people were saying where I'm like, humans don't talk like that. But and I feel like he has some time to grow in his confidence of being like talking to the director, being like, hey, what if I say this here? What if I say that there? The emotional moments, he's really nailing when he puts it. But I think it's the more lighthearted kind of think on your feet stuff that John David needs some work on. But he's off to a great start. I mean, God, Tenant, Black Klansman, Creator, it's like the
I
first
actually
three.
really like him as like the straight guy, like strong kind of action guy. Like I feel like he's better than like I don't know, say like Bruce Willis in some of the shittier action movies or
Oh, sure.
like
Well,
from the
he's
'90s or whatever. But
the scene I always think of is the kitchen fight scene in Tenet. I'm like, not everybody could do that, action acting and stuff like. So he's definitely a very physically commanding performer, and I think he would have a longer shelf life in the industry if he gears more towards action adventure type movies.
I really liked Allison Janney in this movie. Um,
Love
I
Allison.
guess Avatar, you could call her the female Quaritch, I guess. And Ken Watanabe, always really good. I feel like he really gives a nuance to everything that he graces. Like I don't know how hot of a take this is, but I liked him here even more than I liked him in Godzilla.
Oh, for sure. Godzilla was a thankless role. There wasn't really much for him to do there. The best part of that movie was when he says, "Let them fight." But that's basically all he had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great in this movie. He adds a level of gravitas. Like you can see the history and the life he's lived behind his eyes, no matter what character he portrays. I think it was perfect, a perfect happy accident, perfect casting with him.
Gemma Chan, I wouldn't say it's one of her better roles, but also because she's supposed to be the missing female love interest. So I wouldn't say like any actor would have had too much to do with it, but
Mm-hmm.
I think she did all right.
It was a pretty minimal role, so like I feel like there wasn't really a lot of meat on that bone for her to chew on, like performance wise. It almost felt like, not that she's like a hugely known actor, but like it felt like almost she's too big for that role, given how small it was and how little there was for her to do.
No, I totally agree. I mean,
She got a couple of seconds to cook when she was telling her side of the story, which I won't give spoiler free, but it was like a flashback. She was giving her side of the story, and she got to actually break down and cook a little bit with her performance. Shows what she would be capable of doing if she wasn't just set up for being a MacGuffin.
seeing this movie in the theater was such a good decision because, A, like there's a level of unexpectedness to it because like I can't believe I'm saying this again, but I'm just used to like movies of this scale and like the visuals looking this smooth, like being a continuation of something, so you know what to expect at least somewhat because it's connected to something you were in the theater for once before. But here you really don't know exactly what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in a way the visuals are sort of like a cross between the feels of like Elysium and Ad Astra, even with like the
Yep.
missiles at the end. The way the robots blended in, it felt so natural. Like
Oh yeah.
like you were forgetting if there was someone remote controlling them in the back or if it was people in mocap. All the movements looked smooth and it really like
Yeah, I saw some of the behind the
combined.
scenes. It's like they're guys, real humans with like the robot kind of head and then little like green scarf or whatever to take the neck away and stuff. It was really really well done. And the films you were just comparing it to, I would sprinkle in a little bit of Apocalypse Now into that too. Had a very heavy like Vietnam vibe to it, especially when they were on those
Yeah.
like floating boats and they're all just hanging, traveling with their guns and stuff. It looked like watching like a Lawrence Fishburne in Apocalypse Now.
I feel like the decision to shoot a lot of it on location in Southeast Asia was a phenomenal decision too, because you could really feel that like just a kind of different atmosphere that we're not used to from sci-fi. So often with, especially like American-made sci-fi movies, it's like a war-torn, Los Angeles or something like that, which we do get a little bit of in this movie as well. But the bulk of it is, this beautiful scenic location, and you've got this old world technology, and then combined with these AI beings, and it was just such a great looking hybrid.
Right, Gareth knows that the world is full of beautiful places. Everything doesn't have to be like a Star Wars series filmed in front of a green screen. Just like it reminded me of the shot in the first when Rey was in the Star Wars, I think Force Awakens. She was zooming in the desert, and you saw the broken down Star Destroyer behind her. It's like that was a real desert. So like go to these real beautiful places like Thailand. Those rice fields were absolutely gorgeous, and then paint in some like what they did, paint in some sci-fi futuristic stuff way in the background to make it look like, oh wait, we're not actually on in the place that we're used to. We're on this sci-fi world. It was a beautiful blend of real because there's so many beautiful places this earth has to offer, and he utilized that beautifully.
What I think the fact that he paints it all in like things in the background as well. It's not always in the forefront. You're not always seeing this futuristic tech or these futuristic locations right front and center. They are blended into the background so seamlessly.
I remember when the first time I saw it, when the movie ended, I leaned to my friend and I was like, so what's Marvel's excuse? Like this movie was $80 million. Before this movie
I want to bring
played,
that up.
they showed the trailer for the new Marvels movie with Captain Marvel and the Marvels, I think it's called, coming out, whatever. But they showed that, and it looks like fun, don't get me wrong, but the CG with that, I was like, they spent 3 times the budget on that movie, and the creator looks 10 times better. I'm like, there's There's something wrong here.
We've gotten into this time where we're after like Infinity War and Endgame, and now every movie's trying to replicate that event. So every movie needs to be the next most expensive movie, the next most grand thing.
Terrible.
And I feel like they're running into a problem because like all these movies, like it's crazy that Mission Impossible makes 560 million, which is, by the way, something movies in the mid 80s would only dream of making.
Absolutely.
If they were the number one or number two. And it's still considered to underperform or lose Paramount money. So I think there could be a change of method here with like when it comes to the effects,
There has
when
to
it
be.
comes to so on. And I think the Cruise $80 million looks better than any of these 250 million movies from this year. And there's been multiple.
And I think that comes down to a few different factors. Like I feel like a lot of these big studios have adopted a finish it in post mentality, and they're rushing the actual production, and then they're shopping their footage around to a dozen different animation studios to finish it up. And because you're shopping it out to all these different locations, like none of it really fits. So you get these big budget CGI heavy extravaganzas, and they look so bad because you've got so many hands in the pot. I think it comes down to you take a talented director with a good vision and a
Let them
solid
cook.
budget and a team of people that you know are going to deliver visually what you're looking for, and that's the direction they need to go going forward. Even if these studios start to take note from what the creator's done, like I'm a little bit disappointed to see the box office performance. It was kind of expected,
as usual,
but if this does flop, it's an $80 million flop, not a $300 million flop, which for a studio is not as big a loss. So if you can start to make these great-looking movies for a third of the cost, even if they underperform, the loss isn't as great.
Absolutely. And right now, Blade Runner 2049 is already, people are already in that conversation of how brilliant it was and how beautiful it looks and how this is the type of movie that we need. And that movie was a bomb, just like the first one 30 years ago was a bomb when it came out. People always, it's just like those memes you see on like the Snyderverse. It's like they show like this rousing stadium. It's like Snyder fans on the internet, and then the theater's empty. It's like on opening night, it's empty. It's like these people, they go and say, oh, I want something new. All we're getting is superheroes and sequels. It's like, well, show the F up for these new movies. Show up. We need help.
I hope that word of mouth or international markets or something can get people to be like, oh, the creator is good.
Me too.
Because I feel like even 5 to 10 years ago, it would have been 25, 30 million instead of 14 million.
Right.
But I do think this will hopefully find its audience. And I also wonder if like maybe if the cast was able to market it, there could have been a bit more people coming.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that it didn't start off strong, but I'm hoping the same as you that the word of mouth gets around. Digital sales, Blu-ray. I'm sure it's going to have a nice steelbook coming out and stuff. Hopefully that boosts some profit with this. But I think what you said earlier, touching on the theater experience for this, for me personally, I say this about most movies, but being trapped on the biggest screen possible, being trapped in a dark room, no pause button, can't go up to, if you go up to go to the bathroom, you miss something. There's no rewind. That's what you need to watch a movie like this. Because yes, it's beautiful to look at, but to really connect with Alfie and Joshua's journey and stuff, if you really sit there and you pay attention to what's going on, and it gives you the opportunity to really connect and get emotional and really get trapped in this story. So the theater experience is just, there's nothing like it. I think we really need to keep fighting for movies like this to be seen in the theater. No distractions,
What would be our rating out of 10 for this one? I'll start. Personally, for me right now, it's a good 8 out of 10. That's what I'm feeling.
It's pretty good.
And I'm looking forward to like recommending it to more of my friends and watching it again when the Blu-ray releases, like you said.
Yeah.
I went 7 out of 10 on this one. But going back to what you said, this is a theatrical experience. Like every dollar was well spent.
So I'm gonna have to split the diff between you guys. I'll say 7.5 out of 10. I'm not used to the number rating thing. I use a cop out. I'm go no go. It's like either one or the other. So I'll split the difference. I'll make 7.5 out of 10 with the same thing. It's mainly for the visuals and the emotional impact I had with the relationship between Alfie and Joshua. But the story could have been a little bit smoother.
I think that'll wrap it up. And I just want to say thank you to our guests and to all of you watching. Go watch The Creator in theaters. A great opportunity to see something original and hopefully get more like it in theaters, because that's definitely an uphill battle for film lovers and filmmakers that we can hopefully get more of these non-IP, non-sequels on the big screen. Hopefully another amazing looking one like The Creator soon. Adam, do you want to tell everyone your plugs on social media?
I basically only have one at the moment, Instagram. It's at Go No Go Movie Reviews. Being a father of two under two, it's kind of hard to keep up with the social media stuff. I'm changing a lot of diapers over here, but yeah, at Go No Go Movie Reviews, all one word on Instagram is where I post my reviews. Thanks.
Basically, just the one Instagram. It is at Movie Reviews with Ben. And then I also do some writing for the First Reviews team. So that is at First Reviews. That's with a 1 on Instagram as well.
You can find these guys' social medias in the links. I've been following their awesome pages for a bit. And thank you guys again for watching. Leave your thoughts for The Creator in the comments. And stay tuned for more. This has been Feature Fanatics. And thanks again for joining us.